Welcome to Sabrina's Craft-nanigans. If you like what you see, subscribe, comment, and enjoy. Thank y'all. Welcome to Just Our Imagination collaboration with these beautiful hosts, Kathy, Joe, and Brenda, and Joanna. Love these ladies. Here's my DIY number one. You notice that it's Halloween. I know a lot of the lovely ladies did Christmas, but I'm still in Halloween mode. Here I go. I am going to take some marbles, put them in a jar. That's just going to be for some weight. I have me a little set of lights right here, little string lights. Got them off the Amazon. They come in big packs of like 8 and whatnot or 12 for only like $8. And I stuck those down in there, kind of shake them up to get the lights with the marbles. I am going to end up just duct taping my little switch to the side of the jar right there, because I don't technically want to hot glue it, and it won't stick anyway because of the gloss. We're going to use our mop head. Our challenge items were a mop head, pill bottles, and toilet paper. So this is my mop head challenge. I popped that plastic part off of the mop head from Dollar Tree. Got all the strings out. I separated them into 2 sections, and I'm just taking some zip ties from the Dollar Tree and strapping them up in the middle. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of crisscross them on top of the bottle. You saw that glass bottle had like a wide mouth on it. So I'm just going to put one up and down and one sideways. Ta-da! There we go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this little stylus pin thingy from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to separate all the strands into all the little bitty strands to make it a lot poofier. But I'm not going to sit you through that misery. But this is what's happening. Here we go. Poof! Done. Lights on. Doesn't you look so cute? You're going to be a ghost. But a little bit more than the ghost. Taking one of those hats from the Dollar Tree, but that glitter tinsely stuff gots to go. Gonna take my snips right here, and I snip off all those little ends. This cute candy corn banner was from Dollar Tree as well. This was glued and sewed, and I've never seen something done so nicely at Dollar Tree in my life. But there it is. It was hot glued. It was sewn. I had to yank this thing apart good. But I'm going to get it apart, and there are actually 4 of the candy corns that I'm going to use. I'm then just going to flip it around the edge, right where the crease was, where it folded on the banner. Flipping it around the edge of the hat, hot gluing that. Got my finger protectors after I burned myself, notice. I'm going to make sure that that kind of sits as tight as it can against the plastic. And so I'm just making sure the points go up, and then I just get a whole lot of hot glue back there on the back of that, and then I just hold it into place for a couple seconds to make sure it is sticking. And then I'm going to go all the way around, and it did take 4 of those banners to completely cover it. You might have been able to get 3, but I wanted to be safe and do 4. Now, to cover the bottom, I've just got a scrap piece of burlap that I had, and I'm just going to take it, cut it, and I'm going to hot glue that all the way around the bottom. Just like this. This is going to be the little ghostie's witch hat. I'm going to get that glued on, and then I cut all the way around the edges to kind of smooth the points out. And right now I'm just kind of poking a hole and cutting through the middle, cutting up, cutting sideways, cutting down, and then I'll be able to fold those 4 sections up into the hat. So got those glued in. Just taking my lighter, burning off all the frayed ends, all that. See, that's how it's going to fit. She got a little candy corn hat. Now I'm going to use these pom-poms. Those pom-poms on that garland were literally glued to the cord, so I just had to literally cut them off. But I'm just taking the pom-poms, and I'm going to glue that set of 3 on each corner. Now here's where I realized I was trying to do a pattern, but I'm like, wait a minute. There's 2 yellow, 2 white, but it was supposed to be flipped around, so it was yellow, white, yellow, white, yellow, white. So you can see I got one side right, but not the other. Yeah, pretty bummed about that. Anyway, that cute little bow is on a pack of 3 from Dollar Tree. I'm going to put that at the top. This is some black fabric that I had off a roll from the Dollar Tree. And I'm snipping and ripping. It's what I like to call snip and rip. I just take, snip, and then rip it to give it that old fuzzy look. And I just ripped me a bunch of strips. Tied one around the bottom there, hot gluing it on. Then I'm going to take the rest of my strips. I had about like 4 or 5, but I cut a couple more because I wanted it fuller. Taking one of the strings to tie a knot in the middle. And then I'm going to hot glue that on where I tied the loop around the brim. Words, here we go again. Okay, so those have little twist ties kind of on them, but I'm still going to hot glue this sucker right at the very top, but I'm still going to twist the twist tie. And then the little skulls pop off, so I'm going to make sure he stays on, and I'm going to hot glue the little skull on the bow. And then I'm going to put a little bit more glue on the back where those wires were, and then snip off the extra wires with my wire cutters. And boom, hat done. After I thought about it, I should have used some of that creepy cloth, but you know, it's already glued on, it's already together, so oh well. Here I have a bead that is flat on one side. Guess what I'm making? It's not just any ghost, it's a gnome ghost. Heck yeah, baby. So I got the little nose glued on. I made sure there was some of the mop strings hanging from it so that it would stick, because we know it won't stick to glass. Here is DIY number 2. Still in the Halloween mode. This one is for my baby Ashton. Today is her birthday. Happy 24th birthday, baby. I love you with all my heart. This is one of your little birthday presents. So I've got that bottle. It was a wine bottle. Cleaned it up with some goo gone and heat. Here is one of my 2 toilet paper projects. We had to actually use the toilet paper itself. So I pulled off a bunch of squares, and then as you can see, it was just 2-ply, and I pulled the plies apart, which later I realized you really didn't have to do that. I'm going to make a mixture of some goop here, and it's just water and Mod Podge. And notice I have a fan brush because I saw, oh goodness, I can't remember her name, but she's the DIY struggle. Oh, she's awesome. I love watching her. I saw her use a fan brush to do her Mod Podge stuff, and I thought, perfect. So all I'm doing is I put some Mod Podge water mixture on the bottle, and it doesn't matter what Mod Podge you use, really. That was glossy. Later I'm going to use matte to give it a coat on the outside. But I put it on the bottle, and then I set some toilet paper on it. Remember, I pulled the plies apart. I wish I could have done something to keep that kind of crown at the top showing, but with this texturing thing going on, it wasn't going to work. That's why I pointed to that. But once I get the toilet paper stuck on, I take my fan brush and put some more. Here she is, got the whole thing covered, but I saw that there was still some like thin gaps, so I started taking the toilet paper, kind of crumbling it up a little bit to give it some more texture, because it was looking too flat to me. Especially up there at the top where we're going to put a cork later to cork the bottle. This is kind of like an Apothecary witch's brew kind of thing. If you saw the label that I had that I got off Creative Fabrica, that was elixir of life to help you live forever. So here we go. And as I started getting into it some more, it started drying out. So I just sprayed it with some more water. So there we go. Look at that texture on that. Isn't that not the coolest thing? Toilet paper and Mod Podge. Who'd have known? Oh, okay. So you can see there's a couple skinny parts, but that's okay. I kind of like that. And that stuff is hard as a rock, y'all. Hard as a rock. I'm going to take my ink chalk paint by Waverly, and I'm just going to paint this whole thing. And I'm going to give it about 2 coats. I'm just making sure, because this wine bottle, it like dipped in at the bottom. So I'm just making sure. And I'm using a sponge dauber to get this on there. It worked a little bit. See, you can still see some specks of white. I'm okay with that. But then I was like, no, I don't think I'm okay with that. But anyway, let's try it out first. Now I've got some some elephant gray chalk paint by Waverly. And you saw I had a sponge. I'm going to dip it in my gray and then get most of it off. And I'm just dabbing. Dab. And I'm going to do that all the way around the bottle from bottom up to the top. I won't sit you through all that misery. Now, I'm going back. You can see I got my dauber I used for the black. Well, there was too much gray, so now I put some more black on. And you better be glad I edited, because had I not edited this would have gone on for hours and hours. My original video that just downloading all the shots that I took was like a 7-hour-long video. And most of it was doing this process. Had a little gray, put a little black, put a little gray, put a little black. Now I'm going to use some burnt umber by Apple Barrel. Now we're going to put a little brown on it. But you can see I always get most of my paint off. And notice I did not get a different sponge. I'm using the same exact sponge I used for the gray. I did not wash it out, anything. This brown made me happy. This burnt umber made it look more old and kind of, sort of. Okay, after the paint had dried, this was the next day. I still wasn't happy with the texture. I could have went ahead and used more toilet paper since that was our challenge item. But you'll see in my 3rd project that I did only use toilet paper, and it came out great. But that was the 2nd time I done it, and I got the hang of it. This was smooth and my book came out great, so I was like, no, this has got to match. So instead of taking more toilet paper, you can see that I mixed a ton load of baking soda with my ink chalk paint. And I mixed it all up together, and you saw how thick that stuff was. That was some thick stuff. And now look at the texture on it. Now I'm a happy camper. And now we are back to the elephant gray and the burnt umber. You're going to see that I'm just going to stick this on the wax, not parchment paper, and just mix it up, and it's back and forth, back and forth. And then you'll see me grab the black dauber, and this just went on back and forth forever. I rotated, yep, I rotated through all three colors, black, the gray, the burnt umber, and this went on forever. Anyway, now, next day, I'm happy. We're going to take our Elixir of Life label. I printed it on my inkjet printer, just on white cardstock. So it was pretty thick. I didn't leave it in the video, but I did do the clear tape method where you can take the clear tape and stick it on the back and then pull it up carefully. And it pulls some of the layers, plies of the paper off. But I didn't want you to have to go through all that. I probably could have done it just like this because I do when I do it to my second project, which goes with this one. So notice I put a whole lot of Mod Podge on the bottle. I also smeared some on the back of the label. Then I spritzed the front of the label very carefully with water. I had an inkjet printer. I knew this was going to run, so I wanted to spray it. So see, that's kind of what I'm pointing to. Not that you could see it because I had to blow and go through this so fast, but you know. Now, here's why this fan brush is so cool. Because you can just get right underneath the edges, and I wanted to make sure that they stuck. You also notice, hey, I got my saran wrap. That'll keep the bubbles out of it, and you can push down, and I wanted to make sure that was pressed down good, especially with the curve of the bottle, and I made the label so big. Now we got our antique Waverly wax. Yes, ma'am. And I'm just kind of just getting some on that label and made it darker in a couple spots. And then now I'm using matte Mod Podge. I had glossy because that's what I have the most of to get it to stick. But I'm using my matte to coat the whole thing. You notice I used just a smooth brush on the label, but then I got just a big rough chippy brush to do the rest of this because of all the texture. I didn't want to use the chippy brush on the label because I was afraid it'd tear it up, rip it. So I had two different brushes to get the Mod Podge on. Now taking the cork, getting the antique wax after it, sticking it in the top, just kind of taking my antique wax and giving it a brush all the way around, and there she is. Now we get out the creepy cloth that I wish I would have used in black on my gnome ghost there. And I just cut 3 strips and rolled it together, and I'm tying it around the neck of the bottle. And here's another part you better be glad I deleted and got out, because I messed and fiddled with that creepy cloth for I don't know how long to try to spread it out. But I did get some antique Waverly wax on that as well. And then I'm also going to kind of spread where it tied around the neck of the bottle. I'm going to spread it out just a little bit. And here, see, I'm playing with it. I can't stop. It's like a bow where you can't quit fluffing. Yeah. I got one of these little skulls. It was called Bowl Filler. They were white glitter skulls from the Dollar Tree. No glitter. No thank you. Not today. So I took just a black Sharpie marker to get in his eyes and his nose. And then I covered him with antique wax, and I'm just gluing him on top of that knot where the creepy cloth got tied around the bottle of the neck. And there's your Elixir of Life. Happy birthday, Ashton. Mama loves you, baby. Finishing up with some antique wax after I spread that around. You guys like, subscribe, go see these ladies in my playlist that's linked in the description below. They are absolutely fabulous, funny. You are going to love them, and everybody else is in the playlist. Okay, guys, DIY number 3. Now, this project was another toilet paper project. You can see my bottle back there in the back. Now I'm going to do it again. So I'm pretty excited, if you couldn't tell about this. This book I got for free from a friend. Do not come at me, people, for tearing up this book. I am a reading teacher. Books are gold. But this book was just going to sit or get trashed. So I'm repurposing it so it stays alive forever, even if we're not reading it. Okay? Don't be mad at me. I'm a reading teacher. It's okay. Anyway, this was day 1, and now we're on day 2. I just taken my finger sander, and I also took scissors to kind of cut some of the stuff that flopped over the edge. With my book, I was just being messy and sloppy. You'll notice I'm going faster through this because I'm doing the same exact process that I did with the bottle. I covered it with ink. You see, I'm so excited. I covered it with the ink chalk paint by Waverly, and then my elephant and my antique umber paints, and did that whole thing on the outside until I liked it. And you could see the texture in that. It was so much better. And that is all I used was toilet paper. And I did not pull the plies apart on the toilet paper this time. I think that might have been what happened with the bottle. I pulled the plies apart to put it on. With the book, I did not do that. The texture came out awesome. Anyway, let me quit yapping. I am taking just a spritz bottle of water and I'm wetting the pages in the book. And then I'm kind of just crinkling and wrinkling them. Oh, you can also see I took my black and stuff and went around the inside edge of the covers so that it wouldn't show. Later on, I don't think I kept it in here, but I do paint the whole inside of both back and front covers. I am just getting after this book. Like I said, don't come at me. I'm a reading teacher. It's okay. And I have my master's in librarianship. I'm a librarian too. So look at this brush, guys. My friend gave this to me. No idea where it came from. I'm pretty sure at Hobby Lobby, but I don't remember the brand or anything. Taking my antique wax, using this crazy funky spongy dauber thing, it looks to me like it was moldy on the outside. And this is going to be a witch's spell book. So that's why I'm making this so grungy and dirty and like looking like it's really, really used. Now I'm getting a pair of scissors after it. I had so much fun doing this, and I am brushing away from me, not toward me, so I would not cut myself. But look at those pages. Look at that texture, guys. And I am crinkling and wrinkling it. And guys, this went on for 2 days. I played with the pages of this book for 2 days. All right. Here we go, guys. So now here's these little boxes, fake books, faux books that you can get at the Dollar Tree. I loved the cover on that, but there was no way to like put the cover on the cover of the book. So what I'm going to do, I also got the binding spine of the book as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rip and pull down. If you push down while you're ripping, you won't have that white around the edge. And then I'm wrinkling it and crinkling it, and see how it's going to fit right there in the center of my book. I noticed you couldn't see my spells, curses, and hexes. That's all 3 words that are on there. So I'm taking a silver paint marker, and I'm just writing over the letters. It's not the prettiest, but it's not supposed to be pretty, right? No, it's not. Look at there. So I'm trying to tell myself, it's okay. It's okay. It's going to be okay. I'm going to go ahead and get the spine on here. I did the same thing. I ripped all the way around the edge. Going to use my thick Mod Podge and Mod Podge the back. Then I'm going to get it on there. Going to take my saran wrap. Oh, I spritzed that with a little water too, just like I did with the bottle. And then pushing it down. And then I get really carried away with the antique wax. And then there's the black, and you'll see the gray, and it's just all coming out. And I just realized I used the antique wax on this, not the burnt umber. Okay, well, anyway. So, and I'm kind of drawing as I go. You can see I used the same brush. Now I can't see spells, curses, and hexes on the spine anymore. I don't put this in here, but what I did is I printed out. I scanned that on my inkjet printer that I have. I scanned the book cover and the spine and then printed it out. That is all I did. So remember to do that. Print it if you got a scanner on your printer. I have a Canon TS 500 or something like that, but it's like a craft printer. So it can scan, it can copy, it prints, it does everything. I'm absolutely in love with it. Anyway, that's how I got that off the book. I just scanned it, printed it, boom, there we go. So you can see I just Mod Podged it on again. And now I'm getting after it with my antique wax and the black and the elephant gray. You can see all the paint sitting there, and I'm just distressing it and making it just grungy and just everything. Look at that. All right, and I did give it a whole coat of matte Mod Podge on the outside. I got those little hands from the Dollar Tree, and I forgot to hit record, but you can see that I just hot glued that on the side of the book like the hand was opening the book. Got some velvet ribbon from the Dollar Tree. I cut off the wire part of the ribbon. You can see I had that cute little key there that came from my friend Shelly. Thank you, Shelly. And then those little roses, that was in a pack. They're just little foam roses from the Dollar Tree as well. It was all Halloween stuff. I then also cut that velvet ribbon also in half. So I cut the wire off both sides and then cut it in half. threaded it through the key. My flower fell off, so I'm gluing it back on. And then I'm making a bookmark. It's just a bookmark so she can keep her spot in her spell book, her spell, curses, and hexes. And isn't that awesome? Okay, DIY number 4, Hot Mess Express. You can go ahead and go watch somebody else's video at this point. We had to take pill bottles. 3rd challenge item. Here's where it all went wrong. I'm dumping the pill bottles all over the floor. That should have been a clue. I'm removing the caps. I am taking, I believe it was cashew, maybe, and a sponge dauber. And I'm just going all the way around the outside and the bottom. And I'm going to give these guys 2 coats. Okay, I did the caps as well, but I end up not using a caps. That's a whole nother story here. I'm going back to my same colors, my burnt umber, my elephant gray, some black, using that same exact chippy brush from the Dollar Tree that had paint all over it. Now, this is vellum. This stuff's cool. Look, you can see through it. I got that pack at Michael's. It's so awesome. I'm going to use the one that has a bunch of poison bottles on it, like Apothecary stuff, and the other one that had a bunch of words. And I've got my good old purple trusty glue stick Elmer's there. I'm measuring around it to get my length, and then from top to bottom. Well, actually just bottom up to the ridges where the cap goes on. I didn't go all the way up to the top. There's another nightmare you'll see later. Now, I get all the glue on here. Make sure it's glued up real good. And don't worry, the purple dries. I'm a teacher, trust me. I know, thank goodness that purple dries clear. Woo! I'm going to cut a little bit of the extra off there. And I'm going to make sure that's glued on. So notice I'll take it and I'll kind of roll it in my hands here in a second because I want to make sure that it does stick. We are going to take a sander and we do file off the bottom. Okay, so I went ahead and got all those done. Now I've decided, well, before I put the caps on, I'm going to use this little wood burner to melt off the top of the bottles where the cap connects, which probably shouldn't have been done. And hey, that thing was only $15. And boy, it worked to melt the plastic, I could tell you that. Well, after I got all of the ridges off, then I sanded them all down. I then glued the caps on the top. Didn't like that, so ripped the caps back off. That's why they look the way they do in the back. I am taking cheap hot glue sticks from Dollar Tree. When you're doing something like this, use the cheap hot glue, my friends, not your good Sure Bonder or Gorilla Glue. Look, here, I'm like, who picked the pill bottles? Oh my gosh, I'm like so frustrated at this point. Trust me, guys. Look, when I ripped the caps back off, you can see I ripped some of my paper. But anyway, the point of the hot glue where I was going around, I was making it look like dripping wax. I'm trying to make candles. I bought these black little tea light things here from Michael's. Don't buy these. Don't buy these. It was a pack of 9 and I had 3 that worked. You can see that one that's on? The switch was off. Like, some of them wouldn't turn off. Anyway, I put them on top of some bottles I wasn't using, put glue on those to let it drip, and that just turns out to be a whole complete hot mess. And because the drips on the lights don't match the drips on my bottle, but I couldn't do it all at once because I have to be able to turn my lights off. So anyway, I painted the drips with just some black, first I used apple barrel black, and then I got my chalk paint black that I actually got at Dollar General. And I painted everything in the wax, and the bottles look pretty cool. But other than that, well, here we go, guys. Ashton, these are for you, baby. Happy birthday, my sweet angel. My oldest baby is 24. I love you, Ashton, but these are yours, baby. So if you don't want those candles, by all means, please. You don't have to take them. But here we go. Here is our elixir of life and our spell book of spells, curses, and hexes. And then we have our candy corn ghost gnome. Now, guys, I know most everybody did Christmas. I was going to make this a 2-for-1, but ran out of time. I was going to change her from a Halloween gnome into a Christmas gnome. I did not glue the hat on top of her head. It's removable. See? Boop. I was going to put on a Christmas sock cap looking thing, and then I was going to change the ribbons in her braids. Guys, if you want some more Halloween and you have not seen my other video that's a haunt mess, go check this out. This is made with all Dollar Tree pumpkins, my gnome, my pumpkin spice latte cauldron, and the hot mess kitten at the bottom. There's my setup. Yeah, I'm too old for this sheet. Who picked the pill bottles? Who? Who did it? Go click the link in the description box. Go watch all these beautiful ladies. I love you guys. See you next time.